We are officially live. Woohoo. I think I just need to mute myself here. Okay. There we go. All right, guys, let me get on Instagram real quick and we're going to get this party started. Let's see. Okay. How's everybody doing out there? Anybody here live with me? Or am I talking to myself? See, I got Fernando there. Okay. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Instagram? I think we're officially live everywhere. Amazing. So happy to be here with everybody today. It's another blessed day. Thank you, God, for this beautiful day. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for the opportunity to be here with you, sharing probate real estate, my passion. I can tell you there's not one day that goes by in my life that I do not thank God for probate real estate. And every day when I work in this business, was working with having a consultation with a family yesterday, and the mom is actually doing the estate for her son, right? Some of these are emotional, right? No mom should ever have to bury their son, right? Sometimes you just think it's the old people, but that pass away is just part of nature, part of regular life, you know. But unfortunately, we don't know how long we're going to get here, guys, you know, on this earth. And we have to, working in probate real estate really grounds you, and it really just makes you really appreciate every day that you have, every opportunity that you have. And I can't tell you, this is true and true and true in my life. And so I love that I get to kind of be alongside these people while they're going through these processes. And then I also get to provide for my family at the same damn time, right? So it's doing meaningful work. You're helping the families, you're providing inventory for the market. To be honest, like speaking about this family that I'm going to be working with now, had I not reached out and spoken to her, there was a high chance that she probably would have just let this property go. She doesn't live locally. It's an overwhelming, as you can imagine, the emotional component of that, of, losing a son. And then the property not ready to be sold, right? Like what we always talk about, and just the mortgage and the HOA, it's in a condominium. So there's so many moving parts. They're going through probate. And so, she literally told me, she's like, honestly, I am so thankful that you reached out to me. You've been so professional. You've been so providing all the education, like telling me exactly how this would go down, exactly what my options are, exactly what I can do. And I'm truly, truly thankful for you reaching out, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I mean, those are the deals I live for, honestly, really just helping people get through these tough moments in their life. And it also keeps me busy. Okay. I can honestly tell you guys, I am never without work. Okay. And sometimes I have more work than I can actually handle. Praise God for that. But I am never without work. And that's what probate real estate has changed my life in that way, is that, as a regular realtor, you're always looking for your next deal. You're always like on that hunt, like, where's my next, family I'm gonna help? Who's the next person that I'm gonna sell their house? But with probate real estate, that changed completely for me. It's consistent work, it's meaningful work, and it's work that pays well. Because let's be honest, in this marketplace, if you're not solving a problem, guys, if you're not helping someone solve a problem, what are you worth, right? What is your value? Last year in when all the commission changes were going on, what happened? They basically said, now buyers agents, you got to show your worth, right? You got to show, hey, if I'm going to take you around these houses, I'm going to do this and that. You've got to pay me this amount of money, right? It's not just easy anymore that the listing agent just provides you that commission and then you just go do your thing, right? So more and more as AI gets into our business, it's going to streamline the real estate process, and when that real estate process gets streamlined through AI, I was watching on a YouTube where the guy was actually using an example of real estate, and they were saying that, I'm relocating to this city, and, I need to buy a house within this price range. This is these are my criteria of what I'm looking for. And the AI literally just gave them, okay, these are the listings that would match, your, main criteria. This is who you need to contact. Like AI is going to, you think that AI is not going to infiltrate real estate? Think again, guys. Okay. So if you're providing a serious value, something that, hey, maybe a computer can do, right? Like helping putting all these pieces together in probate real estate. I think that any realtor out there that's watching this or has come in contact with my channel, this is a solid business plan for the next 20 years. Okay. Personally, me, I hope to be done in 10. Okay. But the next 20 years, if you're going to say, this is my career, this is what I'm going to do for the next 20 years of my life, you can bet a banana split. Probate real estate is going to be a good venue for you to educate yourself, build your business, and get better every single day. Okay. So I'm going to get off of my soapbox. Thank you for those that are here live and watching me. I appreciate that. And if you have any questions, I want to be able to answer them for you live. So on YouTube, I'm on YouTube and I'm on Instagram. So if you have a question on either of these platforms, just put it in the chat. I'm looking at the chat box now, and I'd be happy to answer it while we're here live. Okay. But today, why you came here today is I'm going to be sharing some of the mistakes that I see families making in probate when they inherit properties. And these mistakes will literally cost families thousands of dollars. Okay. And again, what were we just talking about? We were talking about being the solution. We were talking about how can we help these families overcome their issues, overcome their problems, and make it a good transaction. How can we do that? Okay. Well, in order to do that, we really need to know what some of the biggest pitfalls are that I see families doing. So the number one thing that I see that really catches up to people fast, okay, is not keeping up with the bills, okay? And this happens very frequently. You would think that, once somebody passes away, that all their bills, mortgage is paid off. I have a family I'm working with now that the property is paid off. However, the HOA is not, and they just got hit with assessments like most condominiums are dealing with right now. Okay. And so when you go through probate, when somebody's inherited a property, you typically don't have access to their funds. You don't have access to the deceased person's funds, or we wouldn't be going through probate. Okay. So then it puts the family in a position where you've got to step up and you've got to basically pay the bills, right? So then think about the family dynamics on that. There's four brothers and sisters, so what is everybody going to be pitching in every month? And let's be honest, guys, like the economy's not doing good right now, like people are hurting out there. People barely have enough money to pay their own bills, much less pay for, their deceased uncle's bills on a piece of real estate, right? So when somebody passes away, they're experiencing a mortgage payment, HOA payment. Right now, at this time of year, taxes are due, okay? And not to mention, power, water, grass cutting, pool maintenance if there's a pool, So at the beginning, when it first happens, I'll see families like, yeah, no big deal. We're not worried about it. We're good. Well, what they don't realize is that probate may take longer than they're anticipating, right? And then next thing you know, 6 months has gone by, right? You can no longer make the mortgage payments. You can no longer float the HOA payments, right? So you get hit. It's like a double doozy because you put some of your own personal money out there, but now you don't want to do it anymore, right? Or you don't put any of your money out there. And guess what happens? If you don't pay your mortgage for 3 months, you're going to foreclosure. You don't pay your HOA payments for 3 months, you're going to foreclosure, okay? You don't pay the utility bill, it's getting shut off. Right here in Florida, that's not a possibility. You cannot have no air conditioning in an inherited property because it's going to get full of mold, right? So, what I always tell people in these estates is that the silent killer of probate, like where people ultimately fail in probate, is the time that it takes to go through probate. Now, even working with someone like myself that has tons of experience, even working with a good probate attorney, things still can pop up because it's a court system. It's a judge. There's other family members involved, right? So there's a lot of variables, right? If you ask an attorney out, this is like the famous attorney line. How long is this going to take? And the attorney says, what? It depends, right? Like that's their famous last words. So there is no guarantee as when you're going to be able to get out of probate. So that's where we advise people to work on selling the property as soon as possible. So that way you can secure the asset, right? Because you can own a house free and clear, it's worth 400,000, but it's stuck behind the walls of this property. So technically you have nothing. You have zero, okay? And that property can get distressed. That property can go to foreclosure. That property can get mold, right? And so being able to just get in as soon as possible, restore the dignity back to the house, get it on the market, sell it, and take those proceeds and put them in a secured account. And then you can peacefully wait until the probate is finalized, right? But I hear people tell me that all the time. Oh, no, we're good, Carolyn. We're going to pay for it. We're going to pay for it until it gets to like 6 months. And now all of a sudden it's an emergency. Now all of a sudden people are stressed out. Nobody wants to pay for this anymore. They're over it. They're tired of it. Trust me, I've seen it happen more times than I care to mention. The second mistake really falls right in the same department as not keeping up with the bills, okay? Which is deferred maintenance on the house. So, like we talked about, these houses need grass cut, pools cleaned, air conditioning on. And if you're a homeowner, you know as well as I know, things break down all the time, okay? And your house, you're not doing nothing. You're not even living in the house. And then all of a sudden, the air conditioning breaks, the plumbing backs up, you've got a leak, right? So when you've inherited this property, who's gonna fix it? You can't call the landlord, it's on you, right? So the longer that you take to settle out the estate, right, there's more things that can happen, there's more things that can go wrong. How does that ultimately affect the estate? Well, number one is that you're going to end up spending money to get those things fixed, or you're not going to spend the money, and then you're going to be forced to work with an investor that's only willing to pay you, 50%, 70% of what the property's actually worth, right? So, when I work with families, sometimes like we don't want to rush, we want to, take our time, and you want to be sympathetic with them, right? I understand. It makes sense, like you don't want to rush. When someone passes away, it's not like, you feel maybe a little bit awkward, like you don't want to have to do that. But then what ends up happening is that in the end, the whole family ends up getting bit in the rear, you know? I've actually seen families on, get through, which we're going to go into the next one about getting into the wrong sale, is that they will go through all of these mistakes, literally not just one, but all of them. Okay. So, and then they end up rushing into a sale that isn't even good for them, right? Whereas if we do things in a organized fashion as soon as possible, do things while it's good, right? You ever hear that example of like, why do you have to wait till you get sick to start getting healthy, right? Get healthy now, right? Because you always see that somebody goes to the hospital or they get sick and now all of a sudden they're on an organic diet and they're doing all these things. Well, how about while we're healthy and well, we just do that now, right? So, that's what I always am advocating to the executors is let's not get there. Let's not get all the way to the line where then we're literally stuck. We're stuck in a sale. We've got to sell to an investor. You're not making any equity, right? So getting caught up in the wrong sale or rushing into a wrong sale, I also want to mention is something that happens frequently in my marketplace in North Florida, not so much South Florida, but in North Florida, is you have a lot of investors that, maybe they just watch like a late night infomercial or a YouTube broadcast like this. And then next thing you know, they're real estate investors. They actually don't have any real money, right? They're, working in one of these Facebook groups. Okay, I got a deal. Who can give me the money, right? They're scrambling on the back end to figure everything out. They're a wholesaler. They're actually not even buying it themselves. They don't have the money, and you've gotten caught up with one of these shenanigans. Can I tell you what a mess this creates for the estate? I have had to help more families untangle this, right? And getting caught up in contracts where, we've talked about this before on my channel, where when I go to an estate, when I go to a deceased person's property, I'm looking at it with the eyes of potential, right? I'm looking at it and saying, how can we remove the edge from this property? How can we restore the dignity back to this property? Oh, let's do a little paint here. Let's fix a little there. Let's clean up here, right? When the investors go to the property, they use fear as a tactic, right? They use the fear, they do the opposite. So they'll tell them stuff like, oh, this will never get financing. You'll never be able to sell this on the open market. This will not qualify, to do X, Y, and Z. So then that family member that is going through all the things that they're going through, they end up getting swindled, in my opinion, swindled into working with that investor, get caught up in the wrong transaction, okay? And you waste time and time and time. And as you're in that wrong sale, guess what's happening? Mortgage payments are getting further behind, house is getting further maintenance down. And so next thing you know, the probate sale just turns into a whole big mess, guys, a whole big mess. Okay. And so that's why probate real estate has predominantly been handled by investors for as long as still currently to this day. There's not as many realtors out there as you would think that are helping families every single day in these situations. It's primarily an investor lead, okay? So if you're a realtor on here today, you're on my YouTube, you're watching this is a time this is a calling. I'm literally calling you out right now, families need help out there. They need realtors that are wanting to serve people, wanting to help people overcome these issues. They want to maximize families' estates. They want to get them good deals on their properties, and they want to alleviate the burdens. These houses, in my opinion, an inheritance is supposed to be a blessing. An inheritance is supposed to be what you take to your next legacy. Like, put yourself in the shoes, guys. Like, what would you want to happen to your estate? Would you want your estate to just be sold off for bottom dollar and then some investor is making money off of your estate? Is that what you would want? Because that's not what I would want. I want my stuff to be where my sons and my lineage get absolute top dollar. I'm just going to throw it out, right? Like, I want my hard work to continue so that they can create legacy and continue what I have built, okay? And so this is a time that we need more real estate professionals to understand what probate real estate is, understand how we provide solutions, okay, and how we can have very fulfilling and very lucrative careers working in probate real estate. Okay, guys? So drop a question if you have any questions about probate in there. I'm happy to, jump on there and just answer them for you real quick. While you guys are doing that, I do want to let you know tomorrow I am hosting a webinar, okay, from 2 to last week I did it and I pretty much went to like 3:30. So it's going to be about 90 minutes, an hour and a half, and from 2 to 3:30-ish. And I'm going to be training on how to get one probate listing every week. Yes, every week, one probate listing every week. Okay. And this is consistent work, guys, consistent business that you can be helping families in the community and making money at the same damn time. And tomorrow, I'm going to be breaking down my strategy. I'm going to be showing exactly how this is possible in your business, in your market. And this probate real estate, guys, we need realtors all across the country. We need realtors in every city to help families with this. I'm only in one city, one state, okay? So there's so much business out there, guys. There's so much opportunities. This is happening in the smallest towns to the biggest towns, right? Death is just part of life and death. People are going to pass away. And when they pass away, if we believe the statistics, right? If you believe the statistics, the great wealth generation is upon us. By 2030, all of the baby boomers by 2030, so in the next 5 years, okay? So you're not late to the party. This is the pregame, guys. This is where you can get your organization, get your minds on doing probate real estate, okay? By 2030, the youngest baby boomer is going to be 65 years old. The youngest, okay? So for the next 20 years, kind of weird to talk about, but it's just the facts of life. This generation is expiring. Why is this important? Well, the baby boomers is the wealthiest generation to date in history of our society. Okay? And these baby boomers, don't quote me on the numbers right now. I think it's somewhere around I think the whole US, please, I might get these numbers wrong, but I think it's the whole US wealth as of just everybody in the United States is about 1.5 trillion or something like that. Oh my God, I hope I don't get these numbers wrong. And the statistics tell us that half of that wealth, about 70 trillion, okay, is actually owned, 70 trillion is owned by these baby boomers. Okay? So if 70 trillion is owned by baby boomers, oh my God, Aaron Novella's here. Hi. If 70 trillion is owned by these baby boomers, then half of that wealth is in real estate, right? So as these families, like we talked about, by 2030, the youngest baby boomer is going to be 65. In the next 20 years, how long are people living? 80s, 90s, right? Some people make it to 100. They own 50% of their wealth is in real estate. Guys, this is a huge opportunity for real estate professionals, not just investors. Probate has been an investor market. Okay, now it's time for realtors to stand up. It's time for realtors to get involved in doing probate deals, okay? You're helping the family, you're maximizing the value for them, okay? You're providing solutions to all the problems that they have, and you're making money at the same damn time and having a rewarding career. Okay. So if you're interested to learn more, tomorrow I'm doing my class. Okay. At 2 p.m. The link is in my link tree for people on Instagram and on YouTube. I'll be providing it in the description below. And go ahead and sign up. Meet me tomorrow at 2 p.m. And we're going to talk about how you can get one probate listing every single week, no matter where you're located in the United States. Okay. So I'm so excited to continue working with you guys, continue training you guys, continue working side by side and spreading the love about probate real estate. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh my God, Aaron Noval. Let's go. That was cool.